The most difficult moment for me in this session was sort of the anger that was happening at the beginning and that allow Vanessa to go on too long, or was it just enough? And in the end, I felt like I made the right choice to let her sort of just be in that space on her own and be angry. And eventually she made her way back to the seat. But that was one of the most difficult, moments for me. The moment in the session that I'll most remember was when I started to allow her to think about boxing more than just the physical piece, but sort of the fact that she is a fighter and she's a truth seeker and truth teller. And boxing is just a way to kind of express how she's feeling, but that when she boxes, she's not abusive. She's not out to hurt someone. She wasn't out to hurt me or Mr. Shea in this particular session. So that kind of stood out for me, for sure. Yeah. One of the ways I helped Vanessa see a different side of herself was when she started towards the end, she talked about, okay, Dr. Hydon, I can do this miracle question, but what if I'm kicked out of school? And what if my mom doesn't want me? And what if Mr. Shea and all these things? She started listing this. And I said, you know what? We can't live in this world of what ifs. But what we can do is live in the world of what is. And what is for you right now? Well, what is you are in school. And what is you are living with your mom. And what is you are on this boxing team. And so it was this really interesting dynamic of allowing her to see that she actually does have some things that she can control and that she owns and that she's a part of. And it wasn't my job to let her say, oh, things are fine and things are going to be great, because I think that can be sometimes not the best approach. But that, no, what you went through was really difficult and you had a troubling last, day. But you're still here, and you did the what is you did stay in Mr. Shea's office, and the what is you did come to see me today, and I wanted her to see some of that. That was helpful, I think. One of the things I think Vanessa took away from this session that I think would be helpful is that she does have a little bit of control, and that boxing is more than just the physical work, that there's also sort of the mental work, there's also the emotional work. And I think she took that away from her from the session, like, oh, I'm not some out of control person who my mom thinks I'm going to grow up to be abusive like my dad. No, I'm actually in control, but I also want to assert myself and people to hear me. And I think she learned in this session that, oh, I'm capable of being that Vanessa. And that's something that I can gravitate towards and resonate with and move in other spaces, including the work that I will continue to do with her. So there are times when Vanessa talks to me about her mother doesn't always seem to be supportive of her. And then I kind of reassure her, she may not like some of the things you're doing, like the boxing, but she's been supportive. So if she were to say to me, wow, my mom's just not supportive of me at all, whatever, I would talk with her about, how can you talk with your mom? How can you fight for her support? How can you help her understand that I want to be loved, and I want your support, and I want you to support what I'm doing, and I'm making good choices. And sometimes I might not make the best choice, and I need my mom to hear me, that I need you to support me even when I don't make the best choices. And I'm me. I'm not my dad. I'm not Kai, my sister. I'm me. And I want you to be able to see me for that. And even role play that with her. If she wanted me to play her mother and she can play her, or vice versa, more than happy to show her, that. Yeah. So one of the things she was concerned about was, well, what if I'm not on the boxing team? And so I said, well, that isn't what is right now. But you know what, Vanessa, maybe you won't end up being on the boxing team. But that doesn't stop you from being a boxer or a fighter. There's something about you that I think that's going to be with you for a very long time. And no one's ever going to take that away from you, because it gives you, because you have truth, and it gives you that power. And I think so you're right. There's a very reality that because of what happened, you're not going to be on this boxing team, but it doesn't mean you won't box in the future, or maybe rejoin another team somewhere down the road. And I think that helped her realize, all is not lost. Like, so maybe temporarily I may not be on this team, but that doesn't mean I still can't box in my own way. And I even reassured her, and we will still do this when you and I meet together on Fridays, right? So I think that was good for her. I think it was good for her to hear that. So I think the mitt work helps in a couple of different ways. It does help with the physical, sort of the connecting with your body and the physical, just letting things out. But I think it also helps her to be a person and to stand up for herself and to sort of let people know who she is, how she carries herself. It doesn't mean that she's out of control. She's in a sort of she can kind of control, she can restrain herself. But I think more importantly, it's a way that she can help people see that she has feelings and emotions that she wants to express. So boxing, the physical part is one side of that, but there's also the courage and the bravery and the stamina and the discipline and how she's thinking and her mind and all that all weaves into this whole sport of boxing. In fact, I asked her, I was like, so why did you decide to do boxing, right? And so she talked about that. And then she was like, it's cool. And I'm like, yeah, but there's more to it. And so what drew you to that? And that's when we started to kind of unpeel and get deeper at some of the reasons why she's choosing that. The fact that she had an abusive father, I think it's still important for her. I think she can still have a relationship with a man, that she can still express herself and let him know who she is and how she wants to behave and and I think that can be a safe relationship for her, because I think she knows the difference between what is abuse, what is out to be harmful and hurtful, and what is actually not those things. They're actually safe things, but they're ways that I like to express myself and not get lost into the violence of that and I'm going to be out of control, but more in no, I'm actually in control and I can think about what I want to do and use that in order to make sure that people hear what I want to express and how I want to express myself. That to me, I think, can feel very safe for someone, as opposed to what she's hearing about this sort of abusive, not good relationship. So one of the things is with that relationship with a man, I think, I'm a male and she knew some boxing, but I also think I introduced her to how we can do this in a kind of a different controlled environment and then bring in some of the therapy that we want to work on, and that you're not going to hurt me. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to allow you to be able to use that physical activity, but still be in a space where that's okay. I'm not going to threaten you, but you're here to kind of debrief and unwind, and then we can talk about the work that we want to do together. And I think that that's been helpful for her to see, oh, so there is another male in my life, a man who's obviously bigger than me and probably stronger than me, but that he's not out to hurt me. And therefore, I don't feel like I need to protect myself from him, from physical harm or abuse. But no, I actually can talk with him and he's there to listen and to hear me and to give me some thoughts about how he's seen what I'm going through, and that's not violent or mean or disgraceful. It's actually with dignity and pride that we can have that type of conversation, including the mitt work that we do, whether it's at the beginning or the middle, because she really likes to do that. So over the next few weeks and months, I'd like to continue to work with Vanessa. I think we've built a really good relationship. I want to continue to invite her to do the mitt work if she'd like to. I want to continue to allow her to explore how she's expressing herself and where she feels comfortable, so that maybe down the road, maybe she doesn't quite have an outburst. Maybe she thinks about something differently. And maybe she says, oh, this time maybe I can sort of, nope, I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm not going to let that get to me. I know me. I know the truth. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I did. I know how to use my words and express how I'm feeling. So eventually to get down to that path where she can kind of come to some of those decisions on her own, and know that, oh, okay, so there's different spaces where I can be physical in the mitt work in the boxing club, but I can also kind of use that metaphorically and also fighting for what I want and fighting for what I need and fighting for allowing people to see me as Vanessa and no one else but me as Vanessa. If I can bring her there as our sessions continue, I think that would be helpful for Vanessa. Yeah. Something I'll most remember about my therapy with Vanessa is learning how to help individuals see the goodness in themselves. Sometimes I think they feel people think this about me, so therefore I must be that, and help them understand that no, that's not always the case. And we may not always be able to control what people think or say or feel about you, but that doesn't mean that's who you are. So you have the right to decide who you are, who you want to be, who you want to become. And however you get to that space, I think is super important for you to get there. And if I can, and so in this case, I helped her get there, then she was able to kind of, again, not be compared to other people. And when that happens, you're like, well, you can compare me to whoever you want. I know who I am, and I know how I want to, and how I express myself. I think that's something that I learned. Yeah.